Hello,
and welcome
to Sort of the Story.
I'm Janey.
And I'm Max.
And this is the podcast where we tell each other stories like fairy tales and folk tales and mythology.
And also, you are here.
Welcome to NPR. We were doing it too good, it freaked me out.
This is fresh air. How many times have we done that joke?
Well, I think that might be the only, I definitely think it's the only NPR radio show that you know.
Yes.
And I only know it because you reference it. I didn't know it beforehand.
Whoo!
I knew the name NPR, National Public Radio, and Max knew Fresh Air, and now I know Fresh Air.
I went to a publishing seminar for a summer at Columbia University in New York City. Lore. They were like, if you want to be in the publishing industry, you have to know what's going on in the industry at all times, which means that every day you have to listen to NPR and read the New Yorker. And I believed them. And I listened to NPR for like 2 months. And then I was like, oh, I don't like this actually.
Yeah. And now she does a podcast.
And now I do a podcast. And it's better than Fresh Air.
It's definitely better than reading articles about fresh air.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Anyway, guys, welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
This is the podcast where we review Fresh Air. Bad.
Oh, I've never listened to it. It's probably fine. I don't know.
It's whatever.
They're not like our enemies, but if they want to fight, we'll meet you behind the Walmart. So, Max.
Janey.
Today is our Black History Month episode, we've decided.
So for today, both of us chose stories that are written by Black authors.
Yeah.
These are African-American stories that we're going to be telling today, so.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about mine and yours. You're bringing up an oldie.
An oldie and a goodie.
Oh my God. If you want more of these, join our Patreon.
Give us money.
Yeah.
For $3, you can join us on Discord. For $7, you get a bonus episode every month.
Yeah.
On the month. For the month.
Every month, on the month, for the month, by the month. We're not even part of it.
With liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that another time, I'm sure. Max.
Janey.
So sleepy.
Uh-huh.
It's a Monday.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to bed?
Okay.
Okay, good night, guys.
Bye.
But first, Max, will you tell us a story?
Okay.
Okay, because we can't sleep without a story.
True.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Janey.
Okay, Max.
It's funny that you mentioned that today is Monday. It is Monday. My story today is called Uncle Monday.
Uncle Monday.
Uncle Monday.
Uncle Monday is a hilarious name.
It's really good.
That's comedy gold.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. So this is from a book that I've used before, Rawhead Bloody Bones, African-American Tales of the Supernatural, collected by Mary E. Lyons. This particular story, the story of Uncle Monday, is from Zora Neale Hurston.
Oh.
Ashamed to say that I didn't know all that much about Zora Neale Hurston before today, but I am going to read every one of her books now. She is...
The Color Purple? Is Zora Neale Hurston the one who wrote The Color Purple? Am I crazy?
Their Eyes Were Watching God.
That's... Okay, yes. That's the one I was thinking of.
She was an author and a filmmaker and an anthropologist and also a voodoo priestess.
What?
Yeah, she wrote a bunch of like anthropological works on like voodoo as a culture and everything back in the early 20th century.
Cool.
She died in 1960, but like just had a huge effect on...
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very cool. She was part of the Harlem Renaissance, which if you're not from the US or if you're not familiar with the concept, there's an area of New York called Harlem that was for a very long time and is still today a predominantly Black area. The Harlem Renaissance was this period of time in which a lot of Black like authors and musicians and artists and creators were all in Harlem together, and they created this huge artistic revolution that was based in Harlem and that was grounded in ideas of like pro-Blackness and like being vocally opposed to the racist elements of society in a way that was also like thrilling and hopeful and everything. Very, very cool stuff.
That is cool.
Yeah, the Harlem Renaissance, one of the coolest things that's ever come out of like the United States as far as cultural movements.
When was this? The 60s?
I think this was the 40s and 50s.
Oh, that's cool.
Very, very cool stuff. Zora Neale Hurston is just incredible. I have Their Eyes Were Watching God, and I have never read it, and I'm going to.
I have also never read it. That could be a book club thing one day.
Maybe. I'd be into that. So her area of expertise, she wrote a bunch of novels and everything, but she also wrote a bunch of nonfiction work on like voodoo as a cultural practice, kind of, which is very cool.
God, and in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It feels almost dangerous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I should say the Harlem Renaissance also was an extremely dangerous thing. Lots of people this is bad. Like lots of people were murdered by the police and stuff like that in Harlem for just sharing their art and speaking out loud in public. Yeah. It's a horrible time. It's like one of those things where, the United States is bad.
Hey guys, did you know?
Here's something crazy. It's bad.
No one's ever said this before, so you need to hear it from us. But actually, it's bad.
It's pretty bad.
Especially when you go back in history and when you look at today and all of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was this hugely impactful cultural movement, but also obviously had the reactive nature of the United States, where anytime that anyone was challenging the status quo or the commonly accepted cultural practices of the time, the United States as an institution was like, fuck you forever. Die.
This is the weird thing to say, but that is where like artistic movements thrive, though.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like a
dandelions
kind of thing.
like pushing through the sidewalk, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Harlem Renaissance, super cool period in history. Zora Neale Hurston, fascinating. I had to stop reading her Wikipedia article so that we could record, but just absolutely fascinating. So just really cool. This story was collected by Zora Neale Hurston in her home state of Florida in the 1930s.
Hey!
So this is a Florida story.
Any other Florida girlies out there? I'm a swamp girl.
Swamp girl.
It's me. I feel very close to her already.
Yes. Yeah, so she collected this as part of the Florida Writers Project, which was a group of 6 writers who went around and collected folk stories in Florida in the 30s and created this like sort of compendium of Florida folklore at the time, which is very, very cool.
Yes.
You can find a lot of it online. There's also the collected stories of Zora Neale Hurston is a collection of like short stories, and some of them are sort of anthropological like folklore records. Very cool. I've linked that in the show notes for this episode. Mm-hmm. I have this in Raw Head Bloody Bones by Mary E. Lyons. I don't know if I've told stories from this before. I told Raw Head Bloody Bones, which is like one of our first episodes. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize Mary E. Lyons is from Charlottesville, which is probably why I have this book, because I'm 90% sure that I got this at a used bookstore in Charlottesville, which is my hometown.
That's so cool.
Also, it's signed.
Hey!
For Howard, best wishes, Mary E. Lyons.
Oh my god, Howard.
Howard, why would you give this up? This is beautiful.
Howard might be dead.
Oh.
I don't know if Howard gave it up or if he like gave it up, you know? R.I.P. Howard, thanks for the book.
Thank you for the book. Okay, so this story is called Uncle Monday. This story is very much involved with voodoo and hoodoo.
Yeah.
Which are topics that I am not qualified to speak on. I am very interested in them from like an anthropological perspective and from the perspective of like fiction that they are a part of and everything. But voodoo and hoodoo are like a very specific cultural tradition that I am not a part of and cannot speak to.
Yeah.
So again, check out the work of Zora Neale Hurston, who is an expert on the topic and everything like that. I have like the most basic understanding of voodoo and hoodoo as a practice, but I am not an expert, so I apologize if I get any of the details wrong.
I love that you said that. I feel like we never used to say things like that. I feel like we've always just been like, anyway, I Wikipedia hoodoo.
Yeah. It's one of those,
I definitely
like, really,
do that constantly.
Really, yeah. Well, it's one of those ones that is like still, it's still practiced today, and it's still prevalent today, and it still has kind of the same place in society that it did,
especially before. In American society. Yes. It has a very specific like history and like cultural tradition and stuff like that not qualified, but boy do I look up a Wikipedia article and consider myself an expert.
I don't think anyone thinks we consider ourselves experts, and we don't on anything.
We don't.
But this is specifically,
you're gonna retell a story.
Exactly.
And if you want more info, go look at the sources.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if I'm wrong about anything, tell me, because I like to know stuff. So, there once was a man whose name was Uncle Monday. Uncle Monday was a medicine man in Africa, and he was captured and sold into slavery in the United States. And he was sold to a plantation in Georgia, but he very quickly escaped, and he fled down to Florida. When he got to Florida, the version of the story that I have says that he performed a ceremony with the native people of the area that somehow granted him some kind of power. The ceremony that he performed was all like fire and drums and dancing. And over the course of this ceremony, quote, his face grew long and terrible. His arms and legs began to change. His skin grew thick and scaly, and his voice became like thunder.
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
And through the process of this ceremony, he takes on the form of an alligator.
Ooh.
A massive alligator.
Oh my God, an alligator named Uncle Monday. This is so cute.
Equal parts cute and terrifying.
Yeah, I'd give him my wallet. Just for fun.
You'd be like, go buy yourself something nice and also...
This is equal parts bribe and present.
Here you go. You deserve it. So he gains this ability to become an alligator. And most of the time he stays in this like giant alligator form. He's still capable of turning back into a man though. And he does, especially sometimes to like do magic, because he continues to be a medicine man and a doctor in Florida who helps people. He's like notorious all around as being this very, very, very powerful doctor who can do things that nobody else can imagine, basically.
Yeah.
And he makes his home in a little hut next to Blue Sink Lake, which is a little landlocked lake that is shallow at the very edges and then drops down so that it is virtually bottomless.
Terrifying.
Yeah, very scary. It's called Blue Sink Lake. It's in the middle of Florida. He lives there, and he is surrounded at basically all times by an army of alligators that all just like bow to him as their king.
Yeah.
They like follow him and everything. And sometimes when he goes out into the water, they all go with him. And all night long, you will hear like thrashing and growling sounds of just all of the alligators in a fury together in the lake.
Raving.
Yeah. Just going fucking wild. So this is Uncle Monday. He is a very old, very powerful doctor who can turn into an alligator. Near Blue Sink Lake, there is a woman named Old Judy.
Rude.
Old Judy is also a medicine woman and a doctor.
You could say Old Judy is also an alligator.
She's also old. And her name, Judy.
I feel like I know everything I need to know about her.
There you go. Old Judy is also in the area, and she is also a medicine woman and a doctor. Uncle Monday isn't always around. You know, he doesn't have to advertise himself, obviously, because people have heard of him and they know to come to him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of, you know, like he can kind of take or leave jobs, and he's not putting himself out there necessarily. He doesn't need a business.
Ugh, must be nice.
Old Judy, less notorious.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of in town and she's talking and she's like, oh, I can help with that. I can help with that. I can do this. I can do that. And people are like, oh, well, I would just go to Uncle Monday for that.
I will say, just to be fair to the people, if you specifically need something magical done for you, would you go to the woman in town, right, who's like, hey, I can do that for you? Or would you go to the man who can turn himself at will into an alligator?
For sure the second one.
For sure the one that's proven already that he has magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't, like, do it as a trick. It's just, like...
He just is.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like going to, like, wanting to contact the dead and going to somebody that's like, oh, I see your father standing behind you. I know you can. Or somebody being, like, fully possessed with the voice of your father coming out of them.
Yeah.
I'd go to that guy.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Dad, where'd you hide the money?
So she's, like, in town and she's like, no, I can help with that. Like, I know how to do this. I know how to do that. And everyone's like, well, I would just go to Uncle Monday if I needed that. And so she's like, okay, well, I can also do it. And actually, probably I can do it even better than Uncle Monday.
Uh-oh.
Which is not a good thing to say.
Oh.
Because he's an alligator.
This is Arachne and Athena, but Athena is an alligator.
Yes. So word gets back to Uncle Monday that old Judy has been running her mouth in town about how she's a better doctor than him and everything.
Good for her.
And Uncle Monday says to himself, the foolishness of tongues is higher than mountains. Where he's like, good God. Just shut up. Why are you getting yourself in trouble? You're just getting yourself in trouble.
You don't have to do this. You could just shut up.
What if you just shut up?
Just shut up.
So Uncle Monday hears that she is talking shit. One day, old Judy, she lives in a house with her family, all of her kids and her grandkids and everything like that. And she's like, I'm going to go out fishing. And they're like, you're going to go out fishing? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go out in the boat and I'm going to go fishing. I'll be back later. And they're like, Grandma, you haven't gone fishing in like 15 years. Mm-hmm. You hate fishing.
Yeah.
You hate being out on the lake. You hate the bugs. You hate the mosquitoes. You hate the heat. You hate rowing. Mm-hmm. You hate fishing. I don't even know if you like fish. And she's like, yeah, but I'm just going to go fishing. And they're like, okay, but do you want someone to come with you? And she's like, shut up. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm just going to go fishing. Okay. Leave me alone. And so she goes out and she pulls this little boat out onto the lake with her fishing rod.
Yeah.
And it's getting close to dusk, which also a terrible time to go out on a lake. Mosquitoes.
I mean, to be fair, if you're in Florida, they're going to be there all the time, always, no matter the season or time of day.
True. But especially at dusk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially. Also, it's getting dark.
Yeah. Yeah. But she feels almost compelled.
Uh-oh.
To go fishing.
Uh-oh.
Right now. She has to go right now.
Judy, no.
So she rows herself out onto the lake. And as she gets out towards the middle of the lake, darkness begins to settle itself firmly around her. And she's like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I don't actually even know why I wanted to go fishing. I hate this. I hate fishing. Why am I here?
Everyone was right.
Everyone was right. And as she's thinking about this, she goes to pick up the oar to paddle herself back into shore, and she cannot make her limbs move.
Oh.
It is as though she is frozen. She has no control over her body whatsoever. And she's just sitting in this boat, and she can't move.
Nightmare.
Big nightmare. There's a quote that I thought was really cool. She felt the dark slipping up on her and grabbing hold of her like a varmint.
Like a varmint?
Like a varmint.
Oh, no.
Like a little creature. She's just in the middle of the lake. Darkness is like crowding in around her and she cannot move. And she starts to panic, obviously. Like she can't move her legs. She can't move her arms. She can't paddle. She can't do much of anything. And she's just sitting there like, what's happening to me? What is going on? And as like the last hint of sun goes down below the horizon, this huge gust of wind barrels down the hill that's beside the lake and runs into her at full force. And she's sitting in this boat and the force of the wind knocks her over and out of the boat.
No!
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare!
So she falls out of the boat. She's in the water and the water is dark. And her first instinct is to like try and like swim as fast as she can to stay above water. Mm-hmm. But her limbs still aren't responding the way that she wants them to.
Uh-oh.
And she also realizes once she like comes to like the shock wears off for a second, she also realizes that she can't try and swim too fast because she is in the water and it is nighttime and there are gators.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, I can't go thrashing around because that will attract every animal here to try and eat me.
Gross.
Yeah.
I hate
Very
this.
upsetting. So she's like trying to find a line between like, she can't move very much. Mm. So she's trying to move a little and keep her head above water, but not so much that she's like making waves. And she's just trying to like toe this line of like moving enough, but not moving too much.
Mm-hmm.
And this darkness is just thick around her. She sits in this like choking, like hot water in the dark with like the sounds of night all around her. And every time like she hears a wave against the shore, she thinks that it's something coming to get her. Mm-hmm. Right. And if she's there for a few minutes before she's able to like gather herself together. And finally she's able to let out one low scream over the water. And as she's finally able to make a sound, she feels something hovering over her head. And this voice says to her, "Hush, your bragging, lying tongue has brought you here. Here you will stay until I decide for you to leave." and a beam of light shoots across the lake directly towards her. And at the other end of this beam of light, she sees the figure of a very tall man walking across the surface of the water towards her. And this is Uncle Monday.
Yeah.
And she sees him sort of strolling across the water through this beam of light towards her. And she sees that, like, the water behind him is moving and roiling, and hundreds of alligators are following behind him in, like, a phalanx.
Oh my gosh.
The water is boiling with movement. And he just kind of saunters up to her in this, like, beam of ethereal light. He says, "I put you here, and here you will stay until you bow down and acknowledge me." And she is just shaking in the water. She, like, has lost her voice again. She doesn't know what to do. And she watches as he contorts and turns into this massive alligator, like, truly surrounded by alligators. And this one is so impossibly large that she is trying not to move from where she is. But it is so huge and so close to her that when she breathes, her skin brushes up against its scales.
Ooh.
This huge, huge alligator that just settles into the water around her and sits motionless watching her.
No.
Goddamn terrifying.
Yeah, no.
It takes a little while for her to gather herself, and she's like, "I'm not going to say anything." And this, like, huge scaly body is just, like, around her and near her. And she hears all of the alligators, and she, like, you know, her limbs are starting to feel sore, and, like, she can't move them, and she's having a hard time, like, finding her voice. Like, she can't scream again or anything like that. And so finally, after a couple of minutes of just fighting against her body, she gives in, and she says that she begs for mercy. And she says that Uncle Monday is more powerful than her, and that she should not have said it otherwise.
Yeah.
As soon as these words escape through her lips, a bobbing point of light begins to come down the hill from her house to the edge of the water. And she hears someone calling her name, and her grandson has come to find her. And she looks around and she sees that the surface of the water has become smooth again, but she sees these shapes moving underneath of it and away.
Oh my God. Oh, dark water, no.
Oh, upsetting.
No, thank you.
So her grandson comes, and she finds her voice again. She's able to shout for him, and he dives into the water and pulls her out. In the days after, people tell Judy that she's had a stroke while she was on the water. Which is why she couldn't move and why she couldn't scream, because she had a stroke while she was on the water. She fell in, and she would have drowned if not for her grandson showing up just then.
Yeah.
Right? Judy knows that this is not the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, "You were hallucinating because of the stroke." And she's like, "I absolutely was not. This was very specific." She knows that this really happened, and that Uncle Monday really did come and, like, scare her straight, basically. She completely gives up her voodoo practice. It takes her a couple of weeks to get mobility back in her legs. And when she finally does, people are like, "Wow, what happened? Are you, like, how did you get better?" And she's like, "Oh, Uncle Monday cured me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "Now I work at Walgreens."
I work not here anymore. So she lives the rest of her life, and she never again speaks ill of Uncle Monday, and she advises others to do the same.
He's so scary.
Meanwhile, Uncle Monday, there's a really cool line that closes this out about Uncle Monday, and they're like, there's kind of this, like, ringing of eternity where, like, oh, and he's still there kind of thing.
Ooh.
When he goes back to join the waters, there is turmoil and bellowing all night long. The huge brutes are paying homage to their king.
Oh.
So all of the...
So whenever you hear them.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Anyways, that's Uncle Monday.
That's so scary.
Isn't it terrifying?
I'm bummed because I'm so conditioned to be like, girl power, that I was really hoping she'd outsmart him, but also he's so scary.
So scary.
That's maybe the scariest imagery. Dark water.
Terrifying.
Especially Florida. No, thank you.
Oh my God. So goddamn scary. So, to the name Uncle Monday. Uncle Monday comes from an African tradition that was brought over to, like, the southern U.S. especially children they would have their name, right? Mm-hmm. But they would also have a name that was based on the day of the week that they were born. Oh. So if you think about like in voodoo, there are a couple of figures like Baron Samedi, mm-hmm. which is Baron Saturday, who is named for the day of the week that he was born. He's one of the Loa, who is a like figure, not a god figure, but like one of the figures of power that people pray to in voodoo and stuff like that. There's Papa Legba, mm-hmm. which I think is a month, maybe. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but these are both like Loa figures and stuff like that. So this is kind of a call to this sort of old African tradition of people being named after the day that they are born.
What day were you born?
I was born on a Wednesday.
Huh. I was born on a Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I called you being born on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got real born on a Wednesday vibes, I'd like to think.
Have born on a Wednesday vibes and born in October vibes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So true.
I was born on a Tuesday in April.
That checks out.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, so that's that story. I think it's really cool. There's also a bunch of resources online talking about Uncle Monday, which I think is very cool. There's an article that I've linked in the show notes for this episode. I've also got a picture here that someone did of a painting of this story.
Ooh. It's an old woman in the water, and there's a man riding on 2 alligators like he's jet skiing a little bit. And he's wearing like a long like robe, and he has an alligator head like draped over his head. So he's not in the alligator form, but it looks like he's wearing some sort of like alligator cloak almost.
Yeah.
It's cool. And it's very Florida. It has like a pink sunset behind him.
And like palm trees.
Yeah, the vibe is, and she's wearing like a light blue dress, like a turquoisey dress. Sea breeze.
My mom has that dress. My mom has both of these dresses.
She's got an alligator head.
No. I wish she did though. Yeah, so that's that story. Apparently there are a couple of other Zora Neale Hurston stories that talk about like this sort of lore of Uncle Monday, but this is a figure that recurs in like voodoo lore, specifically in Florida.
Yeah.
He's like the like Florida voodoo king.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
That is cool.
Also, I think it's crazy that this is the first time that we've seen someone who turns into an alligator.
I think so too.
Yeah.
My mom grew up in Florida, and I grew up for a short time in Florida.
And that's why you can both turn into alligators.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the many reasons we can both turn into alligators. For the most part, we use it for crimes. But she used to tell us a story about her teacher. She had this teacher who was like really fit and was like just like a real sporty spice. And her teacher used to every day, there's like a bunch of canals in Florida. They're all filled with gators and they're terrifying. But her teacher used to jump in the canal every day and swim it, like just swim the whole length of the canal and then like come back. And like that was her
like morning
routine.
jog.
Yeah. And one day she was grabbed by an alligator and ended up eating her arm. And so my mom just had this teacher that didn't have an arm. And then after she fully healed, she would still go in the canal and swim every morning. Because she was like, it's not going to fucking disturb my routine. Again. Like, I don't know. What's it going to do? Take my other arm? Fucking try it.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, she had absolutely. She gave no fucks.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love all of the old pictures you see also from like the like 40s and 50s and stuff of like kids that are just hanging out with alligators and stuff.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not that afraid of alligators. I mean, I don't want to be in dark water ever. And I definitely don't want to swim with like wild alligators underneath me. But for the most part, they eat so little in the grand scheme of things, you know? Like, you're kind of unlikely to be attacked by an alligator.
Yeah, they would rather have fish than people.
Yeah, you're a little too big. But also, like, they especially in the winter, like, when people are, there was, like, a true crime case where they were, like, he went missing in the dead of winter, and then everybody just assumed that he had been eaten by alligators. And I was like, ding, ding, ding.
They're sleeping.
They don't eat in the winter.
They're sleeping.
Hello?
That's their bedtime.
Have you ever been to the fucking crab shack? The first thing you learn is they don't want your fucking snacks in the winter.
In the winter of all times.
That was fantastic. I love that.
Thank you.
Spooky vibes. I'm a little itchy listening to it because of all the bugs.
Ew. I'm not scared of alligators. I do think that they're very cool, and I do think that they're very scary. I'm just not scared of them.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
They're so fast, also.
Yes, they are.
I'm really good at finding them, though. I'm not to brag, but
we'll find the alligator in this room.
Is it you?
It's me.
My family and I used to go to Florida a bunch when I was a kid, and I'm better at, I could find like twice as many alligators as everyone else, just like looking out over the marshes. I'd be like, oh, there's one, and there's one, and there's one. And they're like, where's what? Where? Pretty good at finding gators, not to brag, but I got gator vision.
Max is an investigator.
Mm-hmm. Gator's gonna
cool,
gate.
Max. Gatorgate. You want to take a little break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Bye. Okay, Max.
Okay, Janey.
You finished with the Sour Patch Kid?
I swallowed it whole.
Oh, no. Well, I'm telling the story now, so you can have all the snacks you want.
Oh.
I'll just shut off your mic. Today, I'm going to be telling a story from possibly my favorite book. I have like a top 5. It's like constantly changing, but this one, since I got it, has remained in the number 1 spot for quite a while. It is The Dark 30, Southern Tales of the Supernatural, by Patricia McKissack and illustrated by Brian Pinkney. I've talked about this book a bunch, but it reads like a movie.
The cover for Rawhead Bloody Bones is illustrated by Jerry Pinkney.
Let me see. Not the same illustration style, but kind of cool.
I wonder if they're related.
Could be. This book, every story in this book, it's a collection of tales. A lot of them are tales that Patricia McKissack learned when she was growing up in the South, like that she heard growing up. They're tales that are, they're not all like folklore. A lot of them are like historically based with supernatural elements. Like there's a whole very long, very, very cool story about the bus boycotts and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really, really good. Like just a really good collection of stories. Every single one of them reads like a movie. I told a Sasquatch story from this book. I told a seer story from this book. And now I'm going to tell you a story called The Gingi. I'm going to start actually with her. Before every single story, Patricia McKissack has like a little introduction that kind of walks you into where she got it or why she chose it or what the history behind it is. Okay? This is how this one starts. There is a universal folk theme that repeatedly warns evil needs an invitation. One of the many stories based on this idea comes from the Yoruba people of Nigeria, West Africa, who believe an evil spirit can't enter a house without first being welcomed. So big vampire vibes.
Yeah.
To trick an unsuspecting victim into freely letting it enter, the malevolent force uses clever and beguiling disguises. So a charm or an amulet was always used by the Yoruba as protection against evil. Today, most people reject the mystical beliefs of their ancestors, but they keep a talisman around, like a rabbit's foot, a 4-leaf clover, or a Gingi, just in case. So lucky charms, basically. You made me one.
I did.
I was having nightmares, and Max made me a little lucky charm to eat all my nightmares. It's a little hummingbird.
He's got a little snub tail.
Yeah, he lives above my bed.
And he does not help, but he tries.
Just another terrible son.
I have to say, I don't know anything about this topic, so this might be a bad thing to say, but the word Gingi sounds like one of those insane things that people call their grandma.
It does sound like a crazy thing to call
your grandma. It's like a nona, or like a giga, or like a meow.
Yeah, like a meow. That's what you call your cat grandma. I don't know if Gingi is the correct pronunciation. I'm guessing it's Gingi. I also did try to look this up, but nothing really came up about it. So I have to kind of take Patricia McKissack's word for it.
Yeah.
And I trust her basically with my whole life. She can have it. I feel like she'd take it. She'd do good things with it.
Maybe Gingi?
Gingi. I want to say Gingi. Gingi reminds me of the little gingerbread man, which actually is what came up when I tried to research this. The gingerbread man from Shrek. Couldn't find anything else.
Pretty good.
Okay. The Gingi. It's the 1990s, And a woman... Yes, it is.
2020s, Janey.
Fucking prove it. It's the 1990s, and a woman named Laura is standing outside of a Mother Africa shop. She was going to walk by it, but something in the window caught her eye and made her smile. It was a small ebony figurine of a squatting woman with her arms folded around her knees. The way the woman was squatting reminded Laura immediately of her 4-year-old daughter, Lizzie, because she had seen Lizzie specifically sit in that exact position and, like, inspect something in the yard for a long time. And she's like, oh my God, that's my kid. She's like, I love that. So she's like, I have to have this. So she goes up to the door, but as she's approaching the door, she, like, gasps and steps back because she saw in the window, quote, a hideous, toothless hag with burning silver hot eyes.
Oh.
You know, classic. It just, like, in the reflection. And then she, like, went up to the door again. She was like, oh, my God. And then it wasn't gone. And she was like, ooh, I'm crazy. Or I need to wear makeup.
Or.
So she pushed the door open. The figure is gone. She blamed her momentary fear on the fact that she was super stressed. They had just moved to the city, like, 8 months ago. And they have 2 kids. Her and her husband have 2 kids. They moved to a brand new city, are moving into a new house. The kids are set up in a new school. She's a teacher. She started a new job. Like, all this stress is, like, kind of overwhelming at times. And she's like, oh, it finally caught up to me. And now I'm, like, straight up seeing things in windows. So she goes into the shop and she picked up the little sculpture and she turned around to find the Ghanaian woman who owned the shop. She was wearing Western clothing except for an Asante head wrap. And even though she was well over 6 feet tall, she moved with the grace and fluidity of a dancer. So, like, this gorgeous older woman. Yeah. And the woman introduced herself as Mrs. Aswadi and asked how she could help. So Laura held the little sculpture up to her and was like, how much is this? I really like this. I think it's really cool. But as soon as she saw it, Miss Aswadi looked, like, really confused. And she's like, where did you get that? And Laura was like, it was in the window. And she's like, it was in my window? And she's like, yeah. And the woman, like, takes it and she's, like, looking around it. And she says, quote, that's strange. This is definitely not an Asante design. And all my pieces are Asante. This looks Yoruban to me. By the way, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Yoruban.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah. Laura told her, like, okay, well, I still want to buy it if you're selling it. Like, how much is it? And the woman kind of whispers something in a language that Laura doesn't recognize. And then she says in English, I feel this is a wicked thing, very old and very powerful. Among the Yoruba, there are terrible spirits known as the Dabobo. The Dabobo disguise themselves and wait to be taken into a home. Their evil nature is awakened by this invitation. And Laura is listening and she's like, okay, well, that's cool. I don't believe in that stuff. I'm not, like, religious or anything. Like, that's nice. I'm really not bothered by it. I'd still really like to buy it.
You're telling me it's the 90s and this woman hasn't seen Gremlins?
Right? Oh, Laura's gonna really fucking make you mad throughout the story.
You're telling me she hasn't seen Gremlins?
Laura has absolutely no superstition to the point where it puts everyone in danger constantly.
At a certain point, I think a little bit of superstition is
healthy.
If you're completely lacking in superstition or belief in anything that you cannot immediately perceive, then you are monster bait.
Yes, and also evolutionarily, we need that. That's how people have survived. Yeah. We've come up with superstitions to keep us safe from a lot of things.
Which is why I'm terrified of tomatoes when they get a little squishy.
Yeah, and why I cannot use salt without throwing it over my shoulder at Max.
At me, every time. On the couch, all the time.
On the couch, off the couch. Those are the 2 main places. So, Mrs. Wadi insists that if she willingly brought this into her home, she would unlock its rage. She's like, you and your family could be in danger. You shouldn't have this. I'm saying this is a bad idea and you shouldn't buy this, actually. And Laura, like everyone at the beginning of a horror movie, is like, I still want it. But I like it. I think it's pretty, actually. Can I have it? And Mrs. Wadi finally says, you African Americans have forgotten so much of Africa. And then she said, $50. This was, of course, too much for the sculpture. It is way too much. The sculpture is like $15 at most, right? Mm-hmm. And she stares at Laura and Laura stares back. And there's just this moment where they both know that that's a ridiculous thing and that Mrs. Aswadi is only doing this to keep her from buying it. But Laura is touching it. And as she's, like, tracing her fingers around, like, the shape of it and stuff like that, she's, like, filled with this overwhelming desire to have it. Max, she's almost compelled. And she sighs and is like, fine. And then she takes out her purse and she goes to the counter and she pays for it. And Mrs. Oswati is like, are you fucking kidding me?
I would have thrown out a way crazier number. I'd have been like $6,000. Like, if you really wanted to dissuade her from buying it, $6,000.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also $50 in the 90s is a lot of money.
It's like $100 now.
It's a lot for this tiny little thing. I mean...
Yeah, but like $6,000. Why would you...
So Laura pays and she starts to leave. And as she's leaving, Mrs. Oswati comes from behind the counter and is like, hey, wait, hold on. And she hands a small object to Laura. And she says, quote, this is a gift. I always give a gift to customers who buy $50 worth of merchandise or more. Keep it with you. And so then she lets her leave. She's like, that's all I can do. The next thing Laura knows, she is waking up in her bed.
No.
With like a start. She's like, oh my God. Like something scared her awake. And it also scared poor August, the family's big gray tomcat who was sleeping at the end of her bed.
I think August is one of the cutest names.
For a little boy.
For anything.
Oh, yes, it's a very, very sweet name. So Laura calls out like, who's there? And she like clearly feels a presence in the bedroom that she's in, but no one answers. It's dark in her room, which she kind of clocks is kind of strange because she looks at the clock and it's the middle of the afternoon. And she's like, that's so weird. And so she gets up and August jumps on the windowsill and starts like batting playfully at some shadows on the windowsill and just doing cat shit. Laura mutters, what a strange day, noticing she had fallen asleep in her clothes, which she never did, which I can completely understand. I can't lay down in the clothes I wore outside, not in my bed.
Oh, I can.
All the outside germs, Max? Oh, it freaks me the fuck out.
I have in the recent past fallen asleep on my bed on top of the covers, fully clothed with the lights on.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it. So she's like, that's really weird. And also she can't remember going to sleep. It's just odd. So she goes to the bathroom to kind of like wash her face. And as she stands up, she sees somebody in the mirror behind her and she like screams and turns around, but no one's there, like a horror movie.
Yeah.
And so she like rushes out of the bathroom and she starts screaming like, who's there? And again, no one answers. There's nobody in her house. So she kind of calms herself down and she starts rationalizing what has happened. And she tells herself that she's just freaked out because Mrs. Oswati was so fucking weird. And she made herself like she made her paranoid. And so she reaches into her jacket pocket and she pulls out the gift that she had been given. And it was a little straw and cloth monkey doll that was wearing a feathered headdress. And she laughed a little and was like, okay, well, if anything, Lizzie's going to really like this. Lizzie is her 4-year-old daughter. That night at dinner, Laura showed her latest African art piece to her husband, Jack, her daughter, Lizzie, 4, and her 8-year-old son, Thomas Lester. She put the doll on the top shelf of her collector's cabinet, and she admired it, and she was like, here we go, because she collects African art. That's another thing. She specifically collects specific, like, African art pieces, and this fit really well with her collection, on top of feeling compelled to buy it.
Yeah.
But as she's putting it up, Lizzie's like, I don't like it. And she's like, what? And she says, it's mean. This is what Lizzie says. The 4-year-old's like, no, that's mean. I don't like it. Her mother was like, it's just wood. Wood can't be anything, okay? And Lizzie's like, no, I don't like it. And then Laura hands her the little monkey doll and is like, well, maybe you'll like this. And Lizzie's like, I do like this. Thank you. And just immediately is just like, oh my God, I love it. And she says, I'm going to call him Mr. Feathers. And then she just like runs away.
This reminds me of that kid who... There's a Tumblr post where someone was like, my kid is not supposed to say mean things. Like we've told him to, find a different way to express what he's feeling rather than saying like things like gross.
Yeah.
Or like, and so they're like, he's come up with a bunch of ways to say that he doesn't like a particular food. One of them is like, this tastes unlucky to me. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, 100%. Laura loves seeing her children happy. The move had been really tough on all of them because they had previously lived next to her parents, so the kids were being taken care of by their grandparents, but they moved away from their grandparents, which has been really hard, which I can relate to. My nephews basically live at my mom's house. That night, as Laura went around the house to check that the doors were all locked and the lights were off, August was like walking behind her like a little cat, little cat shadow, leading the way down the stairs. At the bottom of the step, though, he suddenly stopped and started hissing. And she said, quote, what is it, Brer Cat? A mouse? which I think is a really cute way to talk to a cat. But the cat suddenly yowled and just ran up the stairs again, like ears fully back, like tail on attention. He's just like, oh my God. And Lizzie kind of laughed and was like, I didn't know you were part chicken. It's only a shadow. But August didn't come back down. He just stayed up there like growling. A week went by, and Laura was standing at the kitchen sink watching Lizzie play in the backyard. She was singing a fun little song that she had just made up. What do you think is a fun little song that Lizzie could be singing out there in that yard?
There's a little ghoul and he lives in my house and he's gonna eat my mom and it's because of that little wooden statue and it's evil.
That's very close. The song that she sang was, Mr. Feathers is my friend. August is too. They don't like the bad lady and I don't either.
That doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, it needs
Mine
some work.
Rhymed at least.
It did not. Yeah, she's not the greatest singer-songwriter of our generation, but that's okay. So Laura leaned forward to hear the song better. She's like, what the fuck is she singing?
I love a monkey named Mr. Feathers.
A monkey named Mr. Feathers and a bad lady who nobody likes. As she's leaning forward, she kind of suddenly felt like somebody had walked up behind her. So she like turns around, like she has that like feeling that just somebody's there. And she has like this chill. She turns around, nobody's in her kitchen. And then she turns back to the window and she notices a couple things at once. One, a large dog had lumbered to the side of the house. So they have a fence around their house and there's a dog. She can see it through the fence. It was growling and snarling to itself and like twitching and snapping. And there was foam drooling from its mouth. And it was moving with no purpose or direction. And it looked like it was going mad from like pain. And she's like, oh God, like Jesus, clearly rabies.
Yeah.
The next thing she noticed was that somehow the back gate was open. That gate was never open. They didn't open that gate. And yet it was wide open, the dog's coming around, and Lizzie is sitting in the back singing in her high-pitched little girl's voice. And immediately Laura's like, oh my God, she's going to attract that dog right to her. Because it sounds like she's like playing, you know?
Oh no.
So Laura grabs the phone and she calls 911. Like just really quick. She's like, hey, I need help. There's like a mad dog here. And then she like throws the phone down and then she grabs a baseball bat and quietly tiptoes to the back porch. She didn't want to call Lizzie inside because she was afraid that the child would start running and then the dog would be triggered to follow her. And right now it wasn't even in her house. It was just like next to the gate. So she charged at the back door instead, and she began to stomp and scream to get the dog's attention on her. And as the dog, like, it got confused and kind of, like, retreated back a few steps, and Laura yelled at Lizzie to run to the porch, which Lizzie immediately did. And as she did, of course, the dog locked eyes on her and started chasing after her. And so she used that time to jump in between the dog and her daughter, baseball bat in hand. And as she did that, August, the cat, jumped in front of her and got low in a stalking position and started fucking snarling. Get away! Good boy, August. The dog's tail twitched from side to side, and he started like snapping and snarling, opening his jaws and jumping forward. And Laura braced for impact. But something weird happened at that moment. Quote, some unseen force seemed to snatch the dog back, holding him in place. He looked as if he were wrestling and twisting on an invisible leash. So he's up on his hind leg, like, trying to get to her, but nothing's holding him back. So he's just, like, doing this really weird, jerking, two-legged dance as he's, like, lunging at her. It's very strange. Laura yelled at Lizzie to open the screen door, and then she snatched August up and ran into the house.
Oh my God, I was so scared.
Nope.
I would be really upset if Lizzie died. I would be really upset if August died.
100%. As soon as they slammed the door behind them, the dog freed itself from whatever had been holding it and rushed at the screen. They could hear sirens blaring in the distance, announcing the arrival of help. Later that evening, Laura was telling Jack and Thomas Lester about what had happened, and she was like, that dog, it was weird. It like couldn't attack us for some reason. It looked like something was holding it back. And Jack was like, you know what? It was probably, and of course Thomas Lester is like, why did it do that? Like, that's really upsetting. And Jack is like, it's probably a family pet. It probably grew up with children and was trained to like love and care for children. And even though it's like really sick right now, it has like an instinct to not attack kids. Like, that's what it sounds like to me, that like it was kind of wrestling with itself a little bit.
Aww.
Yeah. And so Jack is upset by this. And I'm like, I love Jack.
I'm also upset by this.
I know. But Laura was like, that that's not what happened, though. You weren't there. That's just not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, also, it was the weirdest thing. I know that gate was locked. I have no idea how it got open like that. And Jack kind of gave her a look like, you thought you locked the gate. That's all
Fuck
you thought.
off.
I know. But she was like, no, I'm right. So, fuck you. As they were arguing over this, Lizzie suddenly announced, Mr. Feathers in August saved us. And that, like, lightened the mood. Everyone was like, good job, August. Good job, Mr. Feathers. Good game. And, like, Thomas Lester is like, oh, you think you bad now, huh? And, like, then they all started laughing and, like, pretending to box the cat. I don't know. But that night, Lizzie was replaying the strange scene over and over in her head. She thought to herself that she didn't know cats could be so protective. She's like, I had no idea this cat really did jump in front of me to save me from a rabid dog.
Sweet cat.
Things kept getting weirder and weirder over the next couple weeks. Family pictures would fall off the stairwell, one right after another. Things would disappear and show back up in strange places, like she found her car keys in the freezer. You know, like just like really weird, like things moving. And Jack started complaining that things were breaking faster than he could fix them. And Laura felt like she was being watched all the time.
This is just what it's like to have ADHD.
I was going to say this is what it was like in our house when we had that haunting.
Oh, true.
This is exactly what was happening in our house to all three of us.
Yeah, but also this is what it's like to have. Sometimes I'm like, where's my phone? And it's just like in the sink or something.
Yeah.
Why did I put it there?
Constantly. I have there's a video on TikTok of this woman who's like, what it's like to live with ADHD, and she has like a cup on the counter and she pours juice in it and she's like, so exciting. And then she puts the juice back away. She turns back to the counter and there's no cup there. And she's like, what? And she's looking around for it. And then she looks in the sink and there's just like an empty cup in the sink. She's like, oh. And so she grabs the cup and she turns back around and she sees the cup of juice on the counter again. And she's like, what? And she's holding another cup. She's like, what is happening?
Yeah, that's how it is.
That is what it be like. So.
It's just being low stakes, haunted by yourself.
Haunted by yourself. ADHD, haunted by myself.
Oh, true.
Sometimes Laura thought she saw things moving in the corner of her eye, but when she would look, there was nothing there. And the house itself changed. Light seemed to avoid the rooms, regardless of how sunny it was outside. So the house was physically dark. Like sun was just not shining in anymore. Then Lizzie stopped going into the living room at all. She just wouldn't go in there. And Laura was like, why won't you go in the living room? And she said, Mr. Feathers told me not to. And she's like, why did Mr. Feathers tell you that? And she's like, well, he doesn't like that woman. And she like points at this little like statue of the squatting woman. And she told her mom, that's not really how she looks, you know. A mean, ugly witch lives inside. And Laura's like, okay, so no more TV for you.
And maybe no more sugar.
So you're grounded and you have to move.
I'm the mom in a horror movie.
That's what I said. I said, good God, Laura. She's listening to her kid like, a mean, ugly witch lives in there and she wants to decapitate us. And she's like, okay, so no more sugary cereals. Quote, no such logic could explain what happened to Jack one Saturday morning. Jack's about to get it.
I just remembered that this is in the 90s and it is feasible that kid had too much surge.
100%.
It's possible. There was a period in the 90s where my parents allowed me to replace orange juice with Sunny D.
Yeah.
That could be what happened.
Honestly, and everyone's probably on like speed.
Probably.
Yeah. They're so skinny.
And lead.
Yeah. It started when Laura found a dead bird in her bathwater. It's a Saturday morning and she ran a bath and then there's just a dead bird in there, which is a nightmare. Lizzie was protesting, but Laura blamed it on August. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? The cat brought a dead bird in, which honestly, yeah. You have an outdoor cat, like an indoor cat. That's who it was.
That would be the first logical thought.
I pinched myself with my bottle.
Poor baby Janey. I pinched myself with my bottle.
Okay, I don't have a baby bottle. I have a regular water bottle, okay? Like a cool person water bottle. Okay. So Lizzie protested, but Laura blamed it on August, and she banished him to the basement. She's like, get down there. Okay, you need to know that Jack is currently down in the basement. That's where their laundry room is, and he's fixing something. So she's like, get down there with Jack. I'm mad at you. Yeah. Okay. She's not like putting him in like a cold cellar.
Okay. I was going to be so mad.
Well, Lizzie was so mad. In solidarity, she went with him, carrying Mr. Feathers with her. Jack was down there fixing the washer. And then suddenly, Jack screamed, like real loud. And Laura ran to the basement and she saw Jack on the floor, like visibly frightened. He's just sitting there like shaking and like looking really, really upset. He told her that August and Lizzie were playing on the other side of the basement while he was working on the machine. And he had just unplugged it so he could fix it because he was about to like mess with wires and stuff like that. So he had completely unplugged it from the wall. And he was holding hot wires when suddenly, for no reason at all, the power had come back on just on the washer. He would have been electrocuted to death, but the cables had been yanked out of his hand at the last second. So, like, he felt this, like, surge of electricity, and then all of a sudden it was, like, something got yanked out of his hand so hard that it, like, physically scared him a lot. Laura was like, could Lizzie maybe have plugged it back in without knowing what she was doing? And he's like, no, she was too far away, and also the machine is still unplugged. And Laura looked, and it's not plugged into the wall. It had just, like, turned on. Which reminds me.
Yeah, very familiar.
Oh my God, this happened to me. A garbage disposal turned on while my hand was in it, and it was off. I watched the
fuse was off.
No, the fuse wasn't off, but I had turned off the switch, and I turned when my hand was in the garbage disposal, and I turned and watched the switch flip up on its own. Like, I saw that with my own eyes. I would not have believed it if I hadn't seen it.
Terrifying.
I'm kind of an asshole. I wouldn't have believed it if it hadn't happened to me. Okay. Thomas Lester, who had followed his mom down the stairs, asked if the house was haunted, and she was like, no, ghosts aren't real. She said, living in old houses like this makes you think they're haunted, but ghosts don't exist. And Lizzie said, Mr. Feathers saved you, Daddy. And then she ran upstairs with August, like, la la la, I'm a ghost child. The next week, Thomas Lester was at the YMCA where he spent summer mornings and called to tell his mom that he needed his antitoxin medicine in case a bee stung him. So he had like this severe bee allergy and he had medication for it. On the way back, she saw the Mother Africa shop and decided to stop in and ask a few more questions, even though she doesn't believe it, but like she'll ask a question or two, you know. Mrs. Aswabi, of course, remembered her and sat down with her to chat. And she told her this story. A folktale inside of a story.
What?
Quote, long ago, some of the women from the village of Dabobo tricked the mother spirit into giving them immortality. Upon discovering she had been tricked, the angry goddess punished the entire village by causing terrible plagues. The innocent, suffering villagers searched for the source of the goddess's anger. When they learned what some of the women had done, they drove them into the dark jungle. No one would help these women for fear that the mother spirit would turn her wrath on them. The women wandered endlessly without rest, getting older and older and older, yet unable to die. You see, they had forgotten to ask the mother spirit for eternal youth. These women were called the Dabobo Women of Darkness.
It's a classic mistake. Mm-hmm. You can't just ask for immortality. You gotta ask for like,
I want to be
eternal vigor or whatever. Like you gotta be more specific.
I want to be under vampire rules. Physically.
Yeah, I want to live forever and be hot and healthy.
Yeah,
and smart and cool and funny still.
Yeah, and can
like
I have
the same amount as before?
Can I have like a sandwich, like a burrito? Mrs. Aswabi pulled a book from her shelf and showed Laura a picture of an artist's carving of a Dabobo in her last human form. It was an old woman whose features were barely human at all. Laura swallowed and pointed out that this didn't look anything like her statue. She's like, okay, but like my statue is like a cute little lady that looks like she's concentrating really hard on something, so that's not the same thing. And Mrs. Aswabi, like, I'm assuming, smacked her across the face and was like, listen to me! She said, after centuries, the Dabobo women wasted away, and only their anger and meanness survived. They disguised themselves in many forms to gain entry into a home, to take from you what was taken from them. Then she told Laura that the monkey she had given her was a Gingi, a very old and powerful force. In the monkey doll form, it was just a trinket. So she's like, it had no power until somebody in that house decided to love it. If you decide to love it, you unlock its power. And she said, like the Dabobo, it too can take on many different forms when it is protecting or defending its owner against harm. And so Lizzie, because she was a kid, she had loved that doll immediately. And it was like, now it's like buff as hell. Now it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger of Gingis. She said that Gingi was the only thing keeping them safe in that home, but they were still in grave danger. Laura thought about it for a long time after she left. She walked and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe all that I've learned. But the further away she got from the shop, the more she was like annoyed with herself. She was like, I'm a rational woman and I don't believe in stuff like that. Mrs. Aswabi is crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. That evening, she slipped into Lizzie's room and took Mr. Feathers from under the sleeping child's pillow. August, who had been asleep at Lizzie's feet, stretched and then, like, followed her out of the room, like, meow. Meow. She told him, we'll replace this creepy thing with something much healthier tomorrow.
What? Why?
Because Laura's the villain.
Laura's the villain.
Then she went downstairs and grabbed the ebony figure from her curio cabinet. And then she went outside and poured lighter fluid on both figures and burned them in the barbecue. She said, so much for superstitions and hauntings. And then she went back inside feeling pretty smug. She called to August to come inside. He was, like, lingering out there. He was, like, chasing a moving shadow. And suddenly he hissed and, like, ran back in after her. That night, Laura was pacing her bedroom and venting to Jack about how crazy this all was, how Mrs. Aswadi had gotten into her head and made her paranoid, how they didn't believe in this. And Jack was like, yeah, I believe in this. I believe in this now.
Yeah.
So, hi, we've seen too many signs. It's really weird that you keep denying this. Like, I was almost electrocuted. I had something happen to me. It was real. Our kid has been saying scary shit. Like, he specifically is like, hi, Lizzie's been telling us for weeks that weird shit has been happening. It's time we start listening to her. What the hell? And she's like, oh my God, you're absolutely crazy. And then she's like, also, he's like, I didn't tell you this earlier. He's like, but she told me the other day that a bad lady was in that figurine. And I asked her what the lady looked like. And she said it was a toothless hag with milky eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's exactly how you described the picture that lady showed you. And we didn't know about that until, like, right now. So, hello. Can you not be a fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Jack is us. Laura was about to argue, because of course she was, when the door burst open and they both, like, jumped. And then they saw it was just, like, Lizzie standing there in her little pajamas. And they're like, whew, Lizzie, we thought you were something else. And Lizzie is holding August in her arms.
Aww.
And she cried, Mr. Feathers says something bad has happened to Thomas Lester. Laura was about to tell Lizzie that Mr. Feathers wasn't here anymore. But Jack jumped up and ran to his son's room and tried to open the door, but it was locked, which is weird because their doors don't lock in this house.
Oh my God.
So he, like, throws his full weight against it. He ends up, like, bursting through it, and they saw their son lying on the floor beside his bed, struggling to breathe. And so they're like, what the hell? And as they're, like, checking him over, they're touching him, they're shaking him, they realize he's covered in bumps. And they're like, oh my God, are these bee stings? What the hell? God. And Laura's looking around like, there's no bees. Like, what the? He's in his bedroom at night. There are no bees in here. But, like, this kid is clearly in anaphylactic shock, and he's covered in bee stings. And so Jack is holding Thomas Lester, and she runs to the bathroom where they keep his antitoxin medicine, but it's not in there. And it's not in any of the drawers. It's not on the dresser. She's running around, and she's like, oh my God, like, where the fuck is it? And she remembers, like, she took one of the bottles to the Y, but they always had two. And she's like, the other one was in this bathroom. So she decided at this point, she's going to run downstairs, look for it in the kitchen, as Jack is, like, screaming for her to hurry. And they both knew one bee sting probably wouldn't kill him, but he's covered in them. Yeah. So, like, he's in a lot of danger. As she's running down the stairs, something cold pushes past her, and she ends up throwing her body against the railing to keep her balance, and she feels another strong push, and so now she's, like, holding on, like, what the hell? She turns, and she sees a toothless hag on the stairs behind her, and the thing snarled, did you really think you could get rid of me by burning that little statue? And Laura closed her eyes and is like, no, this isn't happening.
Pretty sure it is, though.
Laura, what else can they do? They're trying so hard to convince you that now she's just here. She's, like, pinching you. From the top of the stairs, Lizzie screamed, run, Mama, that's the bad woman. Yeah, Lizzie.
Yeah, Lizzie.
She seemed pretty bad. Laura turned to go back for her daughter, but she lost her footing and she tumbled down the stairs, like, just head over heels, which could kill you.
Yeah.
We've all seen
movies,
and also the Staircase documentary. I almost said we all have, but I have never seen it.
I haven't either.
But I know all about it.
None of us have seen it.
Nobody's seen that documentary.
We've all not seen it.
Guys, do you think Staircase is good or bad? What's the deal? As she falls down, the hag laughs and disappears. Pain rips through Laura's back, but she's like dragging herself up. She's like, I have to find Thomas Lester's medicine. The Debobo leapt at her from the darkness, screaming, I'll destroy you! And Lizzie from the top of the stairs is screaming, leave Mama alone! And next to her, August is snarling, ears laid back, ready to pounce. And she screamed, Mr. Feathers won't let you hurt us anymore! And Laura, as she is like screaming for Jack to come get her, and she's like, in so much pain she can't stand, she feels the need to tell Lizzie that Mr. Feathers isn't here anymore.
Oh my God.
And the little girl says, no, Mama, Mr. Feathers is in August.
Did he eat him?
At this, August leapt at the figure. Remember, they can take many forms. As he did this, his little cat body transformed into a life-size Gingi. The Debobo scowled and melted into the darkness, closely followed by the Gingi. Every light in the house at that point went out. Jack came down the stairs, Thomas Lester in his arms, using the moonlight as his guide. He told Laura that he'd found the medicine in the bathroom. He's like, where were you? Like, it was there. It was in the cabinet where we kept it. And he's like, what's going on? And she's like, you need to get us out of here, like, now. And so he carries Lizzie and Thomas Lester to the car without asking any questions because Jack is a normal fucking person.
Yeah.
And then he came back for Laura, and he's like, we're never coming back to this house again. And she's like, fine. And he's like,
what about August?
And he says, where's August? And Laura doesn't answer because she doesn't know.
What?
The last line of the story is, quote,
what?
On the way out the door, she looked over Jack's shoulder. In the pale moonlight, she saw two shadows locked in combat. The Debobo trying to free itself from the grip of the Gingi. The end.
Go get that cat. That's your cat. That's your friend. He'd protect you.
I'm hoping that after the Gingi eats the Debobo or whatever it does, I'm hoping it, like, lets the cat back out again and they just come back and get it.
I really hope so.
Yeah, there's no closure on what happens to August the cat.
The most important character.
He is the most important character. He's the most rational one. He's been there from moment one, August has. Laura, the most infuriating protagonist I've ever in my life read about.
Yeah. That is exactly like all of the haunted house movies kind of thing where it's like, it would make more sense for you to believe this than to not believe this.
Yeah, at a certain point, not believing it is, you should die. You just should. Yeah. If you continue to ignore actual physical signs, then I'm sorry, everyone else should live and you probably should die because you have no survival instincts. At the end of the day, listening to what's happening around you is a survival instinct. Mm-hmm. Okay, at what point would you not be able to ignore it? Well, actually, I feel like you would immediately be like, like the second somebody told you this is haunted, you'd be like, cool, no thank you then. Thanks for the warning. Big ups.
Yeah.
You might tip them for the
Yes, I would. I would buy their art. I would be like, okay, Can
I have something that is good
What
luck?
should we do with this to get rid of it? And also, thank you for telling me. And also, I don't know. Do you have any cool stuff that you want to get rid of?
Let's say.
I will buy all of your stuff.
Right?
You deserve to be paid for your warning.
Yeah. Let's say you have... It is already in your house. Okay? You already have stuff happening, right? You have the weird dog attack happen. You've been feeling like somebody's been standing behind you. Things are falling off the shelf. Your car keys are going missing and you're finding them in the freezer, in the ice cream or something. Like, at what point in this story do you start being like, maybe I'm haunted?
I think that... So if I found like a dog in our backyard, mm-hmm. I would be like, oh, something is wrong. But I wouldn't assume haunting.
Yeah.
Right?
That alone, that didn't seem like a haunting to me. That seemed like bad luck.
Yeah, the weird like invisible tether, I would be like, that's really weird. And I would look around and try and figure out what happened, right? Yeah. But I honestly, like, if that was it, I would be like, okay, whatever that was, we were really lucky.
I would assume that was part of the rabies.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? Like the jerky, like convulsing movements and stuff like that. I would just convince myself that was part of the rabies.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I started losing like everything, mm-hmm. right? I think at a certain point I would like start videotaping myself.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take that much, also.
No, it wouldn't.
No, because
we can videotape ourselves now. Yeah. Back in 1990, they couldn't really do that.
Yeah, but I would I would try and cook dinner and just set up my phone with a video to like make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because that would be weird. I would be like, is something wrong with my medication? Am I having like weird fugue states or something like that. Like I wouldn't immediately assume haunting, but I would be like, something is wrong and I got to figure out what it is. I wouldn't just be like, I'm sure it's fine.
Well, like, again, while I was reading this, thing that struck me specifically was we did live in this house that we're here. We had more and more upsetting things happen, and all three of us we eventually did acknowledge it as like spooky, and we still stayed here without any sort of like real fear, you know? Yeah. Just breaking it down very quickly, because this is scripted and probably frustrating as a listener. What was the first thing that started happening? The first thing I can remember happening in this house, we had just moved in. It was the three of us, you, me, Alex. And the first thing I remember after we'd lived here for, probably a year at that point. Mm-hmm. One day, it just started where every time I would be cooking, the stove would turn off. So like, we have physical knobs that you have to turn, you know, and there's like a little click. Like, it's not like, there's no computerized system. It's like, knobs. And every time I would be boiling water, I'd turn around to get something, turn back, and the water wouldn't be boiling, and I'd look up, and it was off. And at first, I was like, oh, I must be doing that. Like, I'm, again, probably ADHD. I'm definitely clicking them closed and then not even realizing I'm turning it off. But after like weeks of this happening, I was like, I'm not turning off the stove. And then we all started making fun of it. We were like, this ghost is so into fire safety. Don't look away from the stove. And like, we were all just like, we just constantly kept
unwatched pot will never boil.
It will not boil on my watch. Like, yeah, we were just like, and then we kept living. Yeah. We're like, that in the grand scheme of things, is that really bad? And then Alex and I started hearing each other. It started with Alex hearing me moving around. I came back from school one day and I opened the door and I was like, hey, and Alex jumped up and without saying anything to me, ran into my bedroom. And I was like, what the fuck? What's happening? And I like ran after him. I was like, hello? And he's like, you were in here. And he literally went into my bathroom. He checked all the closets. He was like, no, there was somebody in here. And he looked so upset and he like ran out. He checked the house and he's like, how long have you been gone? And I was like, all day. What do you mean? And he's like, you were in there. Music was playing. I saw your feet under the door. You were moving stuff. You were in there. And that was the first time Alex got scared because he was like, there's somebody in this house. Yeah. Checked everywhere. Nobody was in the house. And then we started hearing each other's voices. We would like hear each other say something in the next room. And then like a couple minutes later, that person would walk from another area of the house, or they'd walk in from work, or they would text and be like, do you need anything from the store? And we're like, oh my God.
Yes. Yeah. That happened mostly to you too, but it happened to me like once or twice where like, you pointed this out this week. Like anytime you're in the house and you're like, I'm like, what's up? Do you need some help?
Yes, Max. If you make any sort of distressed noise or frustrated noise, Max will appear like, hi, like just around in case you need help.
I'm here just in case.
Be helpful.
Yeah, and like I would be alone in the house and I would hear you in here working or something like that. Which also you were in grad school at the time, so
I was always
schedule.
Working.
Yes, but your schedule was weird.
Yes,
so it wasn't like, oh, between 8 and 5 she's not here. Mm-hmm. So I would like hear you working in here. I would hear you like humming and like moving things around on your table, and then I'd hear like, and I'd be like, you all right? You'd be like, mm-hmm. And then you would come back from school.
Yeah, this was what happened to Alex constantly. You were always hearing stuff either in my room or here in the office, or music would be playing in the office, and then for no reason, you know, and then it would shut off, and then I would come home from work.
Yeah, sometimes I'd hear you like typing on your computer or something like that.
Yeah, very scary. Oh, one time it was when the time when I was like, oh, this is actually very scary. Because up till then, we were all hearing it and also kind of like, not dismissing it, but we were like, that's so creepy, and we just kind of move on. But I was home alone, and the dogs I was talking with my friend Janey on FaceTime, and as we were talking, I heard the door open, and I was like, oh, Alex must be home from work. And I hear the door open, the dogs were at the door barking like crazy, and then they stopped. After the door opened, I hear somebody come in and close the door, and the dogs stopped barking, and I was like, oh, Alex is here, and I was like, hey, and then they answered, hey, in specifically Alex's voice. And I was like, Alex is home. So I got up and I was like, hey, Jenny wanted to ask you something. And I get up and I turn the corner and both the dogs are sitting, like just sitting on their like on their haunches. They're not even doing like that weird little like excited sit. They're just sitting. They're staring at the door. None of them are moving. There's not a tail wag, nothing. And the door is closed and locked and there's nobody there. And I was like, oh, well, now we're all hearing things. And I was like, because Alex isn't home. And Jenny goes, well, who said hi? She was like, no. And Jenny made me, she was like, you stop that. Somebody said hi. And I was like, I don't want to think about it. And we kind of like, we're like that. We talked about how creepy it was, but that was the time when I was like, that's so weird. And still, what can you do? You don't leave the house. I kind of get her. I get Laura dismissing things to the point, like, they just moved into this new house, you know?
But also at that point, it was like, not...
She wasn't acknowledging it.
Well, yeah, but at the point that, like, we were just hearing each other in the house, there was nothing threatening about it. It wasn't like we were in danger or anything. It was just, like,
always
weird.
Came with bad feelings, though. You know, they weren't like, oh, that seems like a normal thing. It was always, like, a little unease. Like, but yeah, we weren't being physically threatened. Yeah. But, like, things falling off the walls is not physically threatening, you know?
Well, I was physically threatened by the ghost. You were physically threatened by the ghost.
Oh my God, I almost died.
With the garbage disposal. I was also physically threatened by the ghost in a way that manifested as it really made me seem crazy. Where Alex used to work out in our garage, and they had a pull-up bar that was on the doorway between the garage and the laundry room. So when they were working out, they would just close the garage door and then use the pull-up bar on that door.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, I was walking around. This is very bad for Janey, who has to wear shoes all the time because she's afraid of anything happening to her sweet little pigs.
I hate the feeling of breaking my toes. Sue me.
Wow. Brave.
Max breaks her toes like every year.
Yeah. But I was going to take out the trash or something like that. And so I opened the garage door, which was closed, which you can't close it if there's a pull-up bar on it.
Yeah. Yeah, can't do it.
It, like, hangs across the top, across the entryway, so you cannot close it.
Mm-hmm.
I opened the door. I had a trash bag in my hand. And then I turned around, like, one of the dogs was trying to get in or something, so I set the trash bag down for a second inside of the house. I turned around and, like, you know, shooed the dogs away. And then I picked up the trash bag, and I was like, closing the door with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
And as the door closed, the pull-up bar fell off the top of the door and, like, literally cut off the very tip of my toe.
But it was closed already.
It was closed already. I also remember looking. I was like, I gotta double check. Alex has been using the pull-up bar a lot lately. Mm-hmm. I looked for it. Yeah. And it was not there. And then I went to close the door and it fell down and slammed on my foot. And then, like, I was, like, doing, like, this thing with, like, hot glue and magnets or something like that. A craft.
A craft.
Yeah. And I was doing this thing with hot glue and magnets. And I was being really careful, and I, like, had everything on a table away from me, like, arm's length away, so that I wasn't going to burn myself. I was wearing, like, shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I had all this stuff, like, on the table. And either you or Alex was like, be careful, you're going to burn yourself. And I was like, I'm not going to burn myself. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And then one of these magnets, I just put hot glue on this magnet, and I watched it fly a foot, like, from the table onto my leg and just burn the shit out of my leg.
Yeah.
Like, apropos, nothing. No animals nearby. No, like,
it was
strong
like,
gust of wind.
What do you mean you won't burn yourself?
Watch this.
Think again.
Yeah. And then there was a period of time where I would just be walking through the house, and then suddenly it would feel like I had a bucket of ice water just dumped on me. Or I would just be walking around and be like, oh my God, why?
A couple months after the garbage disposal incident, I was home alone. I was washing dishes. The garbage disposal was clogged. I turned off the light. I stuck my hand in it. Then I started taking my hand out, looked at the switch, and it flipped up while my hand was still in it, but wasn't on the blade, thank goodness. And then it just started running perfectly. So after that incident, which to this day just chills me to my very core, it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life.
Yes.
Nothing really happened after that. We were like, oh my God. Like, thankfully, it kind of all died down. It was like it's pièce de résistance. Yeah, scaring the shit out of Janey.
We also started flipping off the breaker.
Yes, that's true. We would always flip off the breaker. Even when we weren't using it, we would just flip it off unless we needed to use it. And then we made the landlord come in and send an electrician to look at the wires under there. And we made the landlord replace the garbage disposal altogether. Yeah. So, like, we weren't just like, oh my God, ghosts. Like, we actually had them do work. But then we didn't have any other activity in the house. Like, all the voices stopped. All of the weird shit was stopping. Like, the stove wasn't doing that weird thing anymore. And then, like, maybe like a year later, you kept complaining. You're like, God, every time I walk past, I keep getting, this kind of sounds crazy, I keep getting stabbed in the butt. And
I forgot.
And we laughed at it. And we're like, oh my God. And then didn't think anything of it. It had happened to you like 3 times. We were like, ow, butt stab. We're like, And then one day I was walking through our dining room and I swear it felt like somebody took a needle and stabbed me in the butt. It was so bad. I was like, ah! And I screamed. And from the other room, I just hear Max go, butt stab! She goes, where are you standing?
It was the same spot.
And it was the same spot. It was how excited I did a single yelp and you were like, ha-ha! Vindication! Vindication! You've never been so happy to hear that I've been stabbed. You're like, I'm not crazy.
At last, Janey's been stabbed.
It really was, though. It was a butt stab. It felt like somebody stuck us with a needle.
It feels like someone is like poking you with a pin in the ass.
Yeah. Yes. It sucked.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's bad.
You want to tell them about the butt stabber?
Oh, we lived in Northern Virginia and there was a person who was haunting the local malls, stabbing people in the butt, which is awful.
They were like, terrible. Local perverts stabbing people in the butt with a needle. And we were like, that's...
No, with a knife, right?
No, it was a needle.
Was it?
I think it was a needle, which is sinister. But they were like, local butt stabbing pervert in the mall. And all of us were like, we really want to take this seriously.
But you gotta stop calling him the mall butt stabber.
Okay. Whew. Hauntings. Guys, do you have any crazy haunting stories? Share them on our Discord or email us. We want to know. Oh, by the way, we got an email.
Oh.
Did you know the E, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the E, their real name is Janilla?
No, it's a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful name.
We actually got 2 emails and I responded to one of them.
I saw.
I never respond to the emails.
Janilla says, I meant to send this last week, but I kept forgetting. Y'all were talking about misheard song lyrics. Remember the band TLC? The one that don't go chasing waterfalls. You know that one?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Little me was convinced it was called Jason Waterfalls. That the song was about a mom not wanting her son to leave her. Don't go Jason Waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I know that you're going to have it your way or nothing at all, but I think you're moving too fast.
Aw.
Jason Waterfalls.
Yeah. I had the one that everyone has with the Hotel California where the line is like, cool wind in my hair. Mm-hmm. Thought it was Cool Whip in my hair.
We have argued so much about the Hotel California because I've apparently been hearing it wrong.
Well, yeah, because I heard it wrong and I was like, I got to figure out what the fuck is going on with this song. So I looked up all the lyrics. That's how I know all the lyrics. It's because I've parsed it. I've been like, what exactly are they saying here? Or
guys,
just be wrong twice about the Eagles.
No, could never. Could never. You can only be wrong once about the Eagles before you have to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if you have any ghost stories, please write to us. I want to hear your ghost stories. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll read some emails.
Email us your ghost stories.
Yeah, just fucking do it. Oh, there's a quick
sortofthestory@gmail.com.
Yeah. Tell them where to find the list of stories while I look for this.
sortofthestory.com.
Yeah.
Next question.
Tell them what our TikTok is.
Sort of the story.
What about our Instagram?
Sort of the story.
Look at this picture.
Ooh, okay. This is that really cool, what is it called? Scratchboard illustration. And it's like a low angle of like, you see like a porch and the back of a woman's legs and she's wearing like a long flower dress that goes to her knees. So it's like at like a child's height, the perspective. And so it's like behind this woman, you see the back of her legs, you see she's holding a baseball bat. And then just beyond her, there is a dog that is like snarling and making eye contact with the point of view.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I love the scratchboard illustration style. Ugh, real good. Okay. Guys, check us out on socials. Hang out with us. Join our Discord by joining the Patreon. We just want to hang out with you. That's all we want. Yeah. Anything else, Max?
I don't think so. Oh, we're not haunted anymore, so we don't need any fixes.
Do not dare send us a fix.
Listen.
Unless your fix is cute little figurines that maybe we put on the shelf and invite into our home.
I thought, I did have one other thing. I thought that it was going to be an old switcheroo. And it was going to be that the little monkey figurine was actually the evil one.
That she was cursing the family?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope. She was being honest from the very beginning, and Laura was being frustrating.
It would have been really cool if that was like how the thing was invited into her house, was because she was like, oh, you can't take this. It's not safe. She's like, well, I'm going to. And she's like, all right, well, then you have to take this with it also. And that was the evil thing.
I mean, you have to trick it into getting into houses, you know? Yeah. It's trying to trick you. That'd be a really good trick.
Oppositional defiant.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, you can't bring that into your house, I'm like, I'm gonna.
No, not if they're like, Not if they're very seriously saying, hey, from my culture, this is extremely dangerous. I would never sell this. You'd be like, oh my God, can I help you burn it?
Yeah. Also, like, it's kind of like if someone was like, listen, I would sell you this pocket watch if I could, but it's haunted by an old man. I would be like, that's dumb.
Yes. It's like the eBay haunted dolls and stuff like that, exactly. You know? But yeah, if you're just like face to face with somebody and they're like, no, I don't want to sell that to you.
Yeah.
Then okay, bye.
But also if it was like a spooky woo-woo person, I would be like, all right. You know what I mean? Yes. Like if it was someone who's like, rocks are changing your brain chemistry.
I hate that. How do I get the rocks to stop? Rocks, leave my brain chemistry alone.
Get these rocks out of my head.
Max, let's go to bed.
Okay.
Let's go night-night.
Good night.
Good night, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
What if the mascot for Go-Gurt was an old lady named Gertie? It would be like, go Gertie.
Go Gertie. And she does like the Six Flags guys like level acrobatic dancing.
Yeah, like an old lady doing parkour, and that's the mascot for Go-Gurt.
Yeah, because she's doing parkour on the go. Gertie's...
Yeah, she's on the go, Gertie.
And it says, get that Gert. Get it, Gertie. Good. Get it, Gertie, good. I think you're onto something. You want to know something devastating that happened during therapy today?
What?
As I was leaving, she went a little bit ahead of me for the first time. Usually I'm the first one to go out, but we were like doing an awkward thing and the bathroom is right outside the door. And I was like, I'm just gonna, before I leave, and I like pointed at the bathroom like, haha, I'm just really quickly gonna pop in there. And she goes, oh, that's right. You use the bathroom.
What? What?
What she meant was, and this is devastating to, I feel like I'm sweating. I use the bathroom before I leave every time. I'm like, session over, great. Go to the bathroom, say goodbye, go home. And I know where it comes from. It comes from the fact that I was a kid who moved a lot, and we always did long road trips with all of our stuff, and it was always like, go to the bathroom before you leave. So anytime I get in a car, I go to the bathroom first. I just do. But also, oh my God, is this so notable?
Janey,
I know.
You are a notorious pisser.
Oh my God, and now a new person knows that firsthand.
Oh my goodness.
Just wasn't prepared for, oh, that's right, you go to the bathroom. Everybody goes to the bathroom.
That's pretty brutal.
Haven't you read the book Everybody Poops? I'm not weird. I'm not pooping, of course.
No, you would never.
I would never, and I don't do that. The book was wrong about me.
Congrats to you guys for pooping, but I'm different.
Like, good for you, but not me.